Yo, yo, what's going on? What's going on? It's yours truly, Mel, if you can hear me. I don't know who's coming in. I don't know what's going on. Uh, I wanted to get a little controversial. Let's talk about something that, people are affected by, Let me see. This hangout is on air, it's live. I see it. It's a controversial topic that not a lot of people may want to get into, but a lot of people are affected by. But as a side note, before we get into anything else, I will say this is not a coming out video. This is not anything like that. I'm not trying to make any announcement or declaration of importance in that matter. If there was any man among men, that was the straightest. I probably am that. But on a serious note, I talk about this because I had a Facebook post that was put out there not too long ago, and in it I was supporting a friend. I was putting it out there, and it was talking about somebody's child being gay, and parents, feeling like failures and stuff like that. And some people may have taken it a certain way. Some people had certain opinions about it. Of course, there are people out there who have their feelings about the homosexual community. Everybody doesn't get along with everybody, but folks are there with that. And I think when it comes to homophobia, for those that don't understand what homophobia it is negative feelings, or maybe some kind of ill will that you have towards homosexual people, be it lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, etc. LGBTQ, I think, is somewhere in there too. But for the most part, there's feelings that people have, and a lot of times we live different lives. People have different things that they believe in, that they go into. I'm not a gay person. I'm not living a gay lifestyle or anything like that, but I think it's important to understand that when it comes to homophobia, it does affect people. There are rates of suicide amongst young LGBTQ kids, or that commit suicide because they may feel some type of way because they're bullied, or people are picked on because they're different and stuff like that. And it's not so much about having to how can I say this, having to totally embrace somebody else's lifestyle, because religiously people believe different things. Religiously people have different issues and stuff like that they go through. So everybody doesn't agree on everything. I think is a matter of acceptance. It's a matter of understanding that just because we're different doesn't mean that we can't share the same space. We can't live in the same communities. We can't embrace each other and respect each other for our differences. Nobody's saying you have to go out there and have a sausage party and saying it's raining men, or get involved in any of that situation and whatnot. But it is a situation where particularly how it works is you begin to see life from a different point of view, from somebody else's point of view. Because I have gay family members. I have people who live a different lifestyle that my family have had. Brother who passed away, he was gay, rest in peace and whatnot. I have sisters gay. I have cousins that are gay. I have people that I've worked with in the past that are gay. And you try to see people for who they are as people first, before anything. It's not so much about looking at a person's lifestyle or their sexuality. It is what Martin Luther King said many years ago. You judge a person by the content of the character. And I say this and I think this is important now, because next month is Gay Pride month. So it's Pride Month in America. And there's going to be a lot of transgender, bisexual, lesbian, gay people out there celebrating the fact that that's who they are. And everybody doesn't agree with that. There's some strong opinions, there's some strong feelings about that, which I get it, but at the same time, our differences shouldn't be the reason that we are divided against each other, as far as in hate and anger, or willing to do anything or say anything to discriminate against people. Because there are people amongst us who may be immigrants. There's people amongst us who have different religions. There's people who get discriminated on for various reasons all the time. So it's a point to understand that, you know, we're human beings. Like I said, we may not get into what everybody else does, you know, and there's plenty of reasons, there's plenty of things, you know, be it immigration, be it abortion issues, be it religion, you know. And I say this to say, as just as a reminder, you know, to have an open mind. I'm not saying you have to embrace a gay lifestyle. I'm not saying you have to, you know, become gay and start walking around with rainbow flags and stuff like that and pretend or capitulate or, you know, pacify or pander to a particular community. That's not what this is about. This is about understanding that just because people are different doesn't mean they're evil, doesn't mean, you know, they're negative, doesn't mean they should be struck down, doesn't mean, you know, they should be, you know, disregarded or thrown to the wayside and stuff like that. You know, it is a point of understanding that, you know, no matter what, we're all people. We all have our, you know, we all have our struggles. We all have our challenges in life, you know, based on who we are, based on what we believe, based on who we love, based on, you know, the neighborhoods that we come from, the societies, the backgrounds that we have. You know, sometimes it's a situation of color, you know, like myself, being a man of color. You know, I've had issues where, you know, you get discriminated on because you come from a certain neighborhood or you speak a certain way, or you act in a certain manner, you know, so people make assumptions about you and assume things about you. Not to say that everything that I do is right, not to say that everything, you know, the LGBTQ community do is right, but it is important to understand the individual, the human being, because a lot of times our negativity and our discrimination and our hatred and our bigotry that we may push towards a particular community can actually cause them more damage than any perceived immoral evils that they are already committing, or, you know, things that they are doing, you know, because no one man or one group is set with, you know, that stakehold to judge anybody else. You know what I mean? I mean, if that makes any sense. You know, I think it's about understanding that we all imperfect, you know, in our own ways, that we all have, you know, different things that we go through, you know, and, you know, it's just important to love each other as people, you know, because I know some people, you know, who are from the gay community, very nice people, very cool people, you know, folks that I've met, people that I'm related to, folks that I've worked with, you know, stuff like that, you know, who just, you know, like me and you know, they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to live. It's just that sexually, they just made different choices, you know, or ideologically, you know, they have different viewpoints on, you know, how, you know, God looks at, you know, man and women and stuff like that, and marriage and stuff like that, you know, because if we start going into the differences, then, you know, there'll be arguments all day. They'll, you know, we can have fights about everything. And it's like if I went into, you know, situations, arguments about religion, you know, we could definitely have arguments about religion and you know, abortion rights and, you know, just, you know, different, you know, I guess, police brutality. You know, there's many different divisions that we can have as a society, you know, as a country, as a world, you know, if we focused only on that. You know, there'll be a time and a place for, you know, those folks to be judged, you know, individually on that. That's between them and their conscience, or, you know, me and my maker, or you and your maker, or you and your God, or whatever you believe or don't believe. You know, I think what's most important is how we treat each other as human beings, you know, how we see each other individually, you know, how we see each other collectively. You know, how do you interact with that person when they're interacting with you in an honest way? You know, do you consider somebody, you know, dishonest just because, you know, they may love somebody of the same sex? Do you see them as, you know, a heathen or an abomination? You know, I mean, you know, and to the point where they can't be treated as a human being. You know, like I said, religious stuff aside, and not to say that the religious aspect don't matter for those of us that do get into the religious, you know, argument or religious side of it. That has its place, but more so, it is important how you treat a person, regardless of what religious aspect that you may come from, regardless of where you may see, you know, a particular situation in that point of view. You know, I may lose some subscribers for putting out this video, which is fine. You know, it's okay with me. You know, but I talk about this because, you know, these things do affect people. Sometimes our phobias, our fears, they affect people. Our misunderstanding, our judgment. I mean, who is anybody to judge? Like I said, I'm not perfect. For me, who knows what I would do if I had the time. Like I said, be running around with people's wives and whatnot. Like I said, but we're gonna see it. We're gonna get into all that just in case my mother or somebody's watching. But for the most part, I was just thinking about this because of that Facebook post, and I was thinking to myself, I was saying, yeah, I know people were joking about it, but the important thing is to understand that behind the sexuality, behind how people feel about, a gay lifestyle, or, people that live a different way, they are real people, they are good people. They're, with, good hearts. It's just that we find ourselves, diametrically opposed on different sides of the issue, on different sides of the, of the spectrum when it comes to, sexuality, when it comes to, morality, when it comes to, living and how people are, because I don't hate gay people, like I said, I love people of all races, all colors, all creeds, all religions. I have Muslim friends, Catholic friends, I've had Hindu friends. I mean, atheist friends, gay friends, you try to see people for the character. What matters to me most when I look at somebody who may be different, somebody who may, for the sake of this conversation, be homosexual, I look at the character of the person, because the character of the person is more important than the sexuality of that particular individual. Yeah. I mean, it's differences. I'm not, saying, because I accept you that I'm going to sleep with you or nothing like that. I'm not saying that, but it's important to say that I respect you as a human being. I respect you as a man. I respect you as a woman, or however you like to be identified. I respect you because you're a person, because you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect as a human being. And sometimes that gets lost, So I really just wanted to, get cast to really focus on that, regardless of sometimes of how our beliefs are, or our thoughts or opinions are on a situation, or our phobias or uncomfortabilities on the situations are. Because here's the thing, some of us have children, some of us have family members, some of them have good friends, some of us have good friends that are, gay or, lesbian, bisexual, whatever, and what do when you find out somebody that you care about, you love, is gay or, or lesbian or bisexual or transgender? Do you distance yourself from them? Do you banish them? Do you just, say, hey, I don't deal with that? I mean, and I think that's the wrong type of thinking. I know nowadays it's probably more acceptable, for, people to have the gay lifestyle and stuff like that and whatnot. And there's issues on whether or not you should or shouldn't be gay and, all that different stuff. I mean, that has its own time and place to be debated and discussed. But for the sake of this conversation, like I said, it's important to see the person, look at the character of the person. Is the person, somebody who's, holding themselves up to a standard of being a decent human being, regardless of, who they love, regardless of how they identify, regardless of what's what. And I know I may lose some subscribers for this video. I know some people may like it. Some people may have jokes, and that's fine. But the most part is, as long as I made you think, as long as this is something that you can listen to. And I think I turned my comments off. I didn't mean to do that. I did that by mistake. I wasn't trying to avoid the comments in the actual live stream. But for the most part, I just wanted to, put that out there, because I know it's something that's important. And it was something, like I said, that happened on Facebook. I just put a post out there. And I get people who have different feelings and different emotions and different ways that they deal with or think about, the homosexual community and homosexuality. And it does have a relevant place to conversation, the difference between, what's acceptable and not acceptable, or what's moral and immoral. That is a real conversation, spiritually, physically, financially, even politically. That is a relevant conversation. But it has a time and a place for that. It has a venue for that. There's an appointed time that will be dealt with. But for the most part, what I don't want is these young kids out there who are gay, who are bisexual, or, non-binary, however you want to say it, feeling like they got to go out there and kill themselves because somebody doesn't understand or isn't open-minded enough to understand that this is how, certain people choose to live. This is how certain folks, see themselves and view themselves. You know, if you have a problem with a person's lifestyle, there's a way of going about it and dealing with that, as opposed to doing something negative and going out there and gay bashing or calling them insensitive names and doing stuff like that. That's going to put them in a bad way or put them in harm's way. You know, because there's a lot of people out there who don't deserve that, regardless of what their lifestyle is. You know, as long as you're not out there hurting anybody and misleading them, manipulating folks, and doing anything yourself for those people that are in the community, you know. So, like I said, that's my 2 cents on that matter. You know, but like I said, hopefully it's something that made folks think. You know, there are people out there that, you know, are gay or lesbian, bisexual, transgender. I just want you to know that you are loved, you do matter, and that, you know, regardless of where we may stand in that situation, you do deserve to be treated as a human being first, you know, if anything, you know. And I think that's really all I got to say about that. I say to anybody on this video, you can comment, you can thumbs up, you can thumbs down, you can not comment all around, you can unsubscribe, you can subscribe, you can have a further conversation about it. That's totally up to you. But these are my thoughts. This is my opinion. This is my truth on the matter. Like I said, this is just, you know, one concerned person, one man with a voice out there, you know, in the wild speaking. Thank you for listening. As always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Yeah. And decent life.